What's going on in here?
Nothing.
Looks like you guys are having some kind of a party. Yeah, well, I like to party too.
Really?
But I don't party like you guys.
How do you party?
I party like this here.
Show us.
You know what this is? This is the overdose.
This is the overdose.
I remember when Barack Obama came in and recorded that intro for us.
Yeah. And then he turned into a bat and flew away.
Yeah.
All right. Tonight it's gonna be me and Andrea and David Box. Oh, hey, can you turn off that air conditioner? So it's one click to the left. Thanks. Yeah. Three of us sitting in Mac Gears off. Nobody else hanging out with us. We got lots to do.
We're all alone.
Hey, David Box, did you spend some time with your daddy today?
I sure did.
How was that? Did you like hanging out with your daddy?
It was real good. We were grilling some hamburgers and pork chops.
A nice time? Was it a nice day?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Good to kind of make the connection across the generation gap.
Yeah, I did a lot of thinking about my grandpa.
Did you? Is he still around or did he kick the bucket?
He's dead as shit.
Dead as a doornail, huh?
Sure is.
Sounds like a pretty sad state of affairs for your family.
Sure was. He was a super swell guy.
And then someday your dad'll die.
Oh, it's gonna be horrible.
It's gonna be awful.
And then hopefully one day I'll die too.
And you'll leave behind a grieving son of your own.
Yeah, fuck him.
Well, it's Father's Day. We talked to our dad earlier.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. Let's get down to business. This fucking petition's going around.
Fucking petition.
I saw this and it made me so irritated. I don't know, like, immediately I was just like, oh, shut the fuck up. This petition going around about removing the Confederate flag from, like, all the courthouses and
all government places.
Whatever. Yeah, and it's like, all right, there's fine. I don't even want. We did a little bit of looking into the history of the Confederate flag. So if people want to go into that, we can talk a little bit about it. But you know, it's just really fucking annoying that people have this arrogance to go. You know, the American flag is fine. The one that, you know, like, what is the idea? Like, is our flag not associated with, like, the genocide of the American Indians? Is our flag not associated with, like, every atrocity that we've been a part of around the world? Just not even fucking worth going into all of them? What?
Yeah, but it's our flag,
That's
and that flag ain't our fucking flag.
Yeah.
You know?
But they go, it's representative of hatred and bigotry.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh,
It's just the Confederate flag is just for racists to just get away
that's
with a
it.
little something.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought the issue was that it was, like, treasonous to have that flag. Because it's like,
No.
oh, what are you? You're defecting and you're...
Right.
Go
See,
start
that
your own
would be
country. Yeah.
that would be a respectable argument. I might have to actually entertain that, you know,
Yeah.
of like, well, hey, you are flying like of a flag that of a country that we conquered. Because that's the other thing that kind of makes me mad about the way people in the North look at the South. They just assume that anyone who identifies with the Confederates or the Confederacy or whatever, for whatever reason, that they must just be like a drooling, moronic, racist fucking hillbilly. You know what I mean? It's just such an arrogant way of like, do you really think that's going to be the case? You know what I mean? Like, there's no... All right, first of all,
Sometimes you'll travel down there, though, and that, like, stereotype is very pervasive. Not that everyone that flies that flag is that way, but it is one of those things.
Seems to be a majority.
Yeah.
but why? All right, so I kind of see it from a few different angles too, because it's like, why are you? To me, it's just stupid. Flags are dumb, anyways.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why are you still flying the fucking flag? I don't know. I'm not gonna try to fucking force anybody to take it down, but it is just like, what? You know.
Yeah.
Why are you? What is the point there? You know, are you kind of just like citizens under protest, you know, like this whole thing is under protest still. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to
really?
be like, unless you're going and shooting Yankees, then you're being a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, are you flying that flag for real? Like, go shoot some Yankees.
But I
then,
just get-
or you're a pussy.
I just get so annoyed, right? Just like, again, like the trend that we've developed as a culture to all do the 2-minute hate thing of like, okay, this week it's that fucking flag, that's the problem, let's get rid of that fucking thing because some little fucking weirdo just shot up a church, you know, and so now race is important all of a sudden again, you know, and now we all care about it for some reason and are pretending to be outraged. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just that the phoniness of it that irritates me more than anything.
This is irritating to me because people associate this flag with the Civil War, and it's like when a race thing is happening and this flag comes into play, people just automatically are like, well, the only thing the Civil War was about was slavery. This flag only stands for wanting to keep slavery around.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's exactly. I was gonna say the exact same thing. It's really irritating that people have. They can't just do some basic like. Who do you think was fighting in the Civil War on the side of the Confederacy? Do you think it was wealthy slave owners? Do you think it was people that gave a fuck about They didn't fucking have slaves. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just like any other war of. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, there's bound to be some exceptions. Whatever. Who cares? For the most part, it was just like any other war. Poor people and farmers and whoever were fighting for the wealthy, you know, and doing it for them. So the idea that's the South's, you know, there might have been people at the helm of like Confederate policy and this and that you could make the argument of, yeah, they wanted to preserve slavery and this and that. But as far as like the South goes, as a culture and as a people, the people in the South of the United States, most of them don't descend from slave owners and never had in their culture never existed any stake in slavery, you know.
Right.
So it's just stupid.
But you've got companies like DuPont that have headquarters up here.
That's the other thing. Like, where do they
off
think
of slavery
right?
completely?
Yeah.
Where do they think that the people like when slavery was illegal in the North? What do you think? No people from the North moved down south so they could have slaves. Yeah, like that's like that was just exclusively if you're below the Mason-Dixon line, your IQ is just lower, and you're a fucking a bigot and a slave owning person who can't get over the fact that you lost a war.
Yeah.
And that's dude. I on my continued quest to figure out what the fuck is going on with mainstream radio, I'm driving around listening to people talk about this, and the average I guess mainstream Democrat liberal type was like really making these they're discussing it in such a weird childish way, and they're discussing it in this way of like, I just can't understand these people. I just don't understand why they just can't get over this war. They lost the war, they need to grow up and blah. And I'm like, no, you can't understand because you're not trying at all. And you're just assuming that you're better and smarter, you know. It just fucking irritates me that people in the North are just so innately arrogant. You know?
Yeah, and there's
and I'm from here, but
there's a weird thing that you don't have in the North, which is where, and I know this because I have a good friend from Texas who has the most insane amount of Texas pride, and I've asked him what is special about Texas? Why do you feel so prideful of Texas?
Everyone's a dick.
And he said because we were awesome enough to be our own country at one point. And there's probably something similar with the South where they used to be their own thing. They were different. They were separate. They got taken over, but they were there. It's a whole different set of culture that was specific to their country at the time.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. And I also think that people also tend to forget that they were a country. It wasn't, hey, they tried to get away and we roped them back in. They were a country. They said the same way we said, we don't like this. We are independent. They did the same thing. And then we invaded them the same way Britain invaded us.
Yeah.
Is basically just what went down there, you know?
Yeah, and it wasn't just about slavery. I think the South had a whole bunch of legitimate concerns that involved money and resources and all stuff like that.
Well, and it also involved not... the increasing trend of like making more and more things federal issues, you know, and expanding the federal government at all, you know, and that was really, as we started to, as a culture, we started to violate some of the original principles that we had set up in our fight for independence. That's kind of how I look at it. And the South said, hey, we're not supposed to be fucking doing this shit, you know, and then it's caused a rift.
And they were like most of the labor in food production, and in the North there was sort of a different lifestyle. Well, in the North you were seeing, the development of like big cities and commerce as an industry, you know, and all of this shit. So, I mean, but it was all built on the blood, sweat, and tears of the South. Yeah, realistically, it seemed like there was class tension between.
And how many companies do you think we talk about, like DuPont? And do we have a list too? Did we ever get that? You could maybe come up with something though. But how many companies, you know, that were based out of cities in the North got rich off of slave labor?
Definitely DuPont. That's one that because when we visited Mammoth Cave, we learned that they were using slaves mining for what was it?
Saltpeter.
Saltpeter.
To make gunpowder. That's how DuPont got their start.
Yeah, and that's how Mammoth Cave was eventually. Was that how it was discovered, or did they just use it to...
No, they just used it.
Yeah.
Because there was a massive saltpeter deposit like under one of the main caverns.
You can still,
yeah.
You can still see the slave-made piping systems made out of tree trunks that DuPont had them make for getting water down there.
Man, it's so funny. Once in a while, it just hits me too. Like, we've known about this historical event called slavery, you know, and it's just ever since we were born, we've just kind of learned about it, and it's just like part of the history of this country. It's so normal seeming, you know, when you just grew up knowing about it. And then once in a while, it just hits me like, you fucking realize what was going on? Like,
yeah. It was a huge culture shock for me when we took that tour, and the tour guide was like, and this is where the slaves were working. And I was like, we never have exposure to that part of history
in the North.
Yeah. They don't say that stuff. They don't say, here's what they did, here's where they worked. Look, you can look at it.
Right.
You know?
I lived in a big house in New Orleans, a big mansion that was split up into a bunch of apartments, and it was just, and like a lot of big houses there, the old slave quarters were now the laundry room and the whatever, you know what I mean? But it was just casual. The slave quarters over there. It's like everybody has that, you know, down there. Like,
yeah,
and
that's what we call it still.
That must add to the. I don't know. I guess it's got to do something to skew the perception that, you know, that they have down there on it, just having to face it over and over.
All we see are illustrations of people with like a bale of hay. And like they look healthy and stuff.
Yeah. And then we just hear stories.
It's like, oh, that's a slave.
Let's see. Here's a short list of some companies that got their start thanks to slave trading. USA Today, AIG, which is a life insurance company, JP Morgan Chase, Aetna, which is another life insurance or a different insurance company.
Wait, so these are companies that like initially got their start by using free labor from slavery
and benefiting from the trading of slaves. Bank of America, Brooks Brothers.
See, I knew it.
Tiffany and Company.
And how many of these are based out of fucking New York and Chicago and Philadelphia? You know, it's like this idea that the South did this is ridiculous, you know.
Yeah, everybody was benefiting. That's
follow the money.
So this fucking thing about the Confederate flag, I really kind of want to drive home that idea of like, what is the fucking idea that our flag doesn't represent any atrocities?
Yeah,
the American, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And by the way, wasn't the American flag what was being flown over most of those cities while there were slaves too? It's like, it's just such an arbitrary, you know, tie to make between those things. Like,
the horizontal lines represent the first colonies for when we colonized this place.
But I don't even think I give a shit.
Vacant country.
Yeah, I don't even think I give a shit though. It's just who cares about a fucking flag?
Well, and it's gotten to the point in my mind where, you know, it used to be you'd have to see somebody displaying a Confederate flag and think, oh my God, what a redneck. And now if I see anybody with just like an American flag, like hanging from their car or whatever, I immediately think, oh my God, what a redneck.
Fucking redneck.
Like it's transcended in my mind.
That and the Blackhawks flag.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, just drive off a cliff.
The American flag now, you think has become like a sign of being like an idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you see those ones where they anchor it on the back of the pickup truck.
I
and
just saw a good
like
one the other
it's
day.
waving like the truck has angel wings and all.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like if you're driving around with your American flag like that, you're probably just a piece of shit.
You know, I think once in a while you get like a really kind of well-rounded, intelligent, old like vet guy who might be cool, who's got a flag. You know what I mean? There's some overlap there with some cool guys who are very aware, and you know what I mean, and aren't really part of the ignorance in this country. I think that probably still fly the flag. There's got to be.
Well, and
Yeah.
they would consider themselves patriots of the country,
And
that
but
has
they would
gone
also
crazy
be
and stuff. Yeah.
They would also be the exception to the rule of people who put a flag on their car. You know, it's not most of those people who are well-rounded and well-informed and smart, you know.
Look, our dad's calling for Father's Day.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 Yes, Father. How are you?
I'm good.
Happy.
My main fight is with the Chinese right now.
Oh yeah, what's going on with the Chinese?
Well, they're assholes. But you know, I spent a lot of time in the South.
All right.
There's
We're
a-
going
As
somewhere
you
with that
guys
Chinese
did.
thing, but maybe
There are a
not.
lot of Chinese in the South.
Yeah. So what's going on? What do you think about this thing? You must have known a lot of people who did the Confederate flag thing, not from a place of like, you know,
Right.
yearning for the days of slavery or wanting to beat up on black people or something, right? Like.
No, in fact, I was always amazed that living in Chicago, it seemed like I lived in a far more prejudiced place as far as the black and white.
Yeah, Chicago is definitely more segregated, and there's a way more tension between I think any big cities in the north is like it is way more tense racially, it seems. And then you go in the south and everybody lives in the same neighborhoods together, they all work together. You know what I mean? It's like
and I never ran into that. I didn't, you know, I mean, I was in many groups of people where I expected, you know, there to be talk about you know, us against them and stuff. It never happened.
Yeah.
Never once. And that was quite a chunk of time, you know, that I spent down there, and I didn't run into it. Now in Chicago, I actually had a cop say to me, "Okay, well, was it a bunch of niggers?" It's like I don't know. They were black. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, how do you answer that? Like, no. Oh, so they were white? Well, no. All right.
Right, yeah. But I mean, it was such an odd thing down there. And granted, I did meet a lot of intelligent people that I had a lot of respect for, you know. But that wasn't everybody either.
Right.
And I never ran into that. I never got the impression from anyone that they had this Confederate flag on their truck because they couldn't wait to own a slave, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's more like we were saying, it's more just preserving this idea that, like, you know, I'm not owned by the federal government, you know.
Yeah, there is a prevalence of thought that the South will rise again.
What does that mean? What are they gonna do? What does that mean? Like,
Well, I never quite got that.
What are they gonna rise? Where are they going?
And I also never challenged it, but you know, I never got the feeling that anyone wanted to go back to having slave labor. Never.
Yeah.
And, I mean, one of the most famous slave owners in history is the guy that wrote all the shit about
freedom and every
all
man's
men are created equal.
Yeah. The many discrepancies between the way Thomas Jefferson lived and wrote is pretty entertaining. Yeah.
And it's an interesting article because you're talking, or an interesting subject because you're talking about a guy who is. I mean, I don't think you can argue about his intelligence. That was a very smart guy. But
which guy?
Jefferson.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But, I mean, people that were of the slave class, that was not something invented in America.
Well, no, we were talking about this the other day, too, and this is not something to excuse or sort of buffer the accountability or anything, but they showed up to Africa and found a thriving slave trade, where there were slaves going out all over the world, and
and it was among the Africans.
That's what I mean. It's like they didn't have to go get off the boat and go running around through Africa tying people up. They were just waiting there in cages on the beach,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you paid the right king, you got a whole truckload of Africans to bring back here. And they tried, that country, Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia's hilarious.
It sure is.
Yeah. It is hilarious. I mean,
yeah, we've talked about that on the show before.
Just from the start, how it's hilarious in just that way of like it's so fucked up that you can't even deal with it emotionally. You're just like, okay, I guess you guys are doing real good over there.
And their president's name is Good Luck Jonathan.
Good Luck Jonathan. That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And they've got that's where I mean the whole country is just split up into like little warring factions where they're all famous generals, and that's where you've got like General Buck Naked and General Mosquito, and then his enemy General Mosquito Spray. It's pretty fucking it's pretty interesting over there. And then a bunch of them name themselves like after American pop culture.
General
stuff,
Rambo, General Bin Laden.
There you go.
Yeah.
General Britney Spears.
Yeah. Terrifying.
Oh my god.
So anyways, though, getting back to this flag thing to wrap it up, you're saying you spent a lot of time in the South, never ran into that kind of shit. Did people ever, did you ever kind of take away like a general sense of what people do feel like is their reason for wanting to fly the Confederate flag?
Well, just the, some Southern pride.
Just sort of it seems to me just sort of a vague thing of hey, this is part of my heritage. I it's like we said, it's different from the rest of the country. It's just a way of being. I don't know.
Yeah, we had our own thing.
Yeah.
It's like
I know this is probably an abstract reference for a radio show, but you guys know Charlie Gearhart.
Yeah, he's we should explain who that is.
He's a singer-songwriter. He had a band called Goose Creek Symphony.
Right, and he's in the Appalachian Mountains. He's pretty well known and considered to be
iconic figure. Yeah,
a well-respected philosopher of sorts. So.
Right, and I'm sorry, I would defy anyone to find anyone that's more gentle and understanding.
So what's your point?
My point is, there's people like that all over the South. There's people like that are still feeling guilt over what happened in the Civil War and what the perception is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be goddamned, the Civil War had nothing to do with, at the core of it, it wasn't about slavery. It was about the disparity between industry and raw resources. The South had all the resources.
What the fuck is all that noise in the background? What are you listening to?
I was listening to your show.
Oh.
But I just turned it down.
So we got to move on. Father. But thanks for calling in
Father.
on this this most holy of days.
Yeah, it really is too.
Holy
Yeah.
days.
You know.
Oh, holy day.
Actually, he had to call me earlier and remind me that it was Father's Day.
Nice. Good work.
I had no idea. All right.
But I am going to
That's
get in a
why
fight with
I'm
the
the
Chinaman.
favorite.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna have to do that story on the next show or something because we got to go. We got to get. To,
Oh, you want to get the story after I get in a fight with him?
right. Yeah.
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 Let's
All right.
let the
Well,
whole thing
we'll
develop.
just tease that coming soon. The story of our father and grandmother fighting with some Chinese people,
With some Chinamans.
with some Chinamen. All right, we got to go.
All right.
Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
pops. All right. Where are we at?
Well, are we done with the Confederate flag?
I'm
Is that-
done with it.
All right. Let's talk about, well, while we're talking about racism, we've got an update on our church shooter, Dylan Roof, as we all recall.
Have you noticed? None of us really watch TV or anything, so it's kind of awkward to try to analyze the media sometimes on this show. But the stuff that I see on YouTube, the clips and everything, I could tell already they are trying to make this guy interesting, dark. They're selling adverts the same as any other, but it's just this fucking irritating tendency with these mass shooters, whether it's something that we think happened the way they say it happened, or something that we think is a hoax, or something in between, or whatever the case is. They always do this same fucking bullshit of trying to turn him into some kind of weird, dark counterculture hero.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, telling you to look inside the madness of a depraved soul. And it's like, it's such theatrical treatment.
Yeah.
Of the whole thing. It just makes me fucking sick,
If you do the same thing, we'll also make a TV special about you.
It's just
Yeah.
it's been talked about since Columbine. Remember, that was the big discussion after Columbine. I don't know, you were kind of young, but I recall a giant discussion about like, does giving them fame and say they remember?
Yeah.
Do you guys were pretty young? Melissa over there might remember. Do you remember there was some discussion as to whether or not they were ever even going to release their names? The trench coat kids.
That's what they were calling them at first, the trench coat kids.
Oh, they were supposedly part of the trench coat mafia.
Oh,
but that
yeah,
was
but that
bullshit.
was- yeah,
Is that a
which is
thing?
not a
Just
thing. No, it's a
wearing
sarcastic
trench coats.
fucking. It's what's
The trench coat mafia.
Yeah, right.
Yes, sir.
They belong to a group known as the Trench Coat Mafia. Many local parents wondering tonight why they weren't informed. The discussion though became, what are we doing by making these kids famous? And we identified it right away. Everybody knew what was going on, but we still put up with this fucking retarded media that's just going to capitalize on this shit as much as they can.
Yeah, and the first one to do it was probably like the opening the floodgates. It was probably an act of like competition. Like, we're going to be the ones to release the names. We have the headline story. All eyes on us.
Yeah.
And
Right,
then
right.
everyone's followed suit afterward. Like, oh fuck, glorify
Yeah.
these kids quick.
No, yeah. So, anyways,
Someone's
that's
doing it without us.
I noticed that off the bat with this kid. This whole idea that there's going to be something real fucking interesting in this guy's head.
Yeah.
What are we going to find out from him?
These are
Well-
some stick figure drawings of him mapping out exactly how he was going to do it.
So what?
The good news is that they found his manifesto.
But yeah, by the time we did this on the last show, it was like 12 hours after it happened. So
Yeah.
what's been going on?
Well, they discovered a website called lastrhodesian.com.
Oh,
which-
really?
Yeah.
So maybe he was those patches that he had on his coat in the pictures were the Rhodesia flag and
Yeah,
the apartheid era.
South Africa.
Did you say apartheid?
Apartheid, yeah.
You don't say apartheid?
No, I think it's apartheid.
All right.
Right?
I think
Yeah.
I've heard it said both ways a lot of times. I don't know, but
Well, half the time it's been wrong.
so those flags that he had as patches on his jacket. So there's
yeah,
now
in
saying
like the one photo that they were.
yeah.
Here he is. This is him. Here he is. This is him. So he has a lastrhodesian.com is registered to him and to his address. And it's
So he made a website.
He made a website.
Called
Yeah.
Last Rhodesian. What a fucking nerd.
February. It started on
He's got
February
like a messiah
2nd.
complex.
Yeah. So he made it. I'm gonna post this for everybody to take a look. But there's a page of photos of him posing in denim shorts with his gun, and let's see, this one he's carrying a Confederate flag. He's got posing shirtless with his gun and sunglasses on inside. So a bunch of things that make him look kind of mad and brooding, and like maybe he might be crazy.
Yeah.
And a bunch of pictures of this gun, conveniently enough, which is it matches the caliber that was used during the shooting. And also that's the one that his father allegedly gave him as a gift.
Right. Which is not such a weird thing either, you know. Like,
yeah.
He was 21. I mean, it's like
So
they keep repeating that. His father gave him the gun. Like, he's fucking 21. He can have a gun.
yeah,
you know?
and
Well,
he lives in South Carolina.
It turns out he shouldn't have, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like that they've made like a huge deal out of that. Like, that's such a weird thing that, you know. Yeah, and especially somewhere, you know, because all the fucking media comes out of big cities where people don't know this shit, but it's normal in a lot of places to go, yeah, here's a gun, kid.
Yeah.
So whatever. All right.
So some highlights from his manifesto. It's over 2,000 words long. It's but it basically says things like, let's see. Even today, blacks are subconsciously viewed by white people as lower beings. They're held to a lower standard in general. This is why they're able to get away with things like obnoxious behavior in public, because it's expected of them.
Okay.
Let's see. He also says Negroes have lower IQs, lower impulse control, and higher testosterone levels in general. These three things alone are a recipe for violent behavior.
How small is this kid's dick, do you think? You think this kid had micro penis syndrome?
Yeah.
He's got his
It's
dick is like
inside out.
his dick is like the pig in Fritz the Cat when he gets his pants pulled down in the church. Right. Okay. Because
This
none
gun
of you
is big and phallic. I'm gonna use it.
You could just kind of laugh and kind of go with it. You have to stop and just stare at me and make everyone. So now we have to. Okay, you didn't get the reference. Very good.
Sorry.
Let's go.
All right. He also says, I hate the sight of the American flag. Modern American patriotism is an absolute joke. People are pretending like they have something to be proud while white people are being murdered daily in the streets.
Wow.
And he ends it by saying, I have no choice. I'm not in the position to, alone, go into the ghetto and fight. I chose Charleston because it's the most historic city in my state, and at one time had the highest ratio of blacks to whites in the country. We have no skinheads, no real KKK. No one is doing anything but talking on the internet. Well, someone has to have the bravery to take it to the real world, and I guess that has to be me.
I mean, the skinheads in the KKK aren't even pitching in over here.
Yeah, I mean,
What is a reasonable white person to do?
That is, I like his logic there of just like, you know, I tried fucking just these crazy right wing extremist groups. I don't know what the fuck else there is. Come on.
Holy shit.
God. So, we just don't know yet.
KKK is not even pitching in.
Yeah.
Fucking lazy ass KKK.
Sons
Jesus.
of bitches. What are they doing with all their time?
They're all in Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't know much more about. We're waiting to hear back about his psychological profile and stuff. But this manifesto is pretty damning in terms of.
I don't know, dude.
fucking
All I know
crazy.
is it's the same kid over and over and over again with the stupid fucking weird looking haircut and the 1,000-yard stare, and his fucking pants don't fit right, and he wears stupid looking boots and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the same kid over and over since Columbine.
Yeah.
He looks just like the fucking Columbine kids.
Yeah, this one is interesting in that he's so racially motivated, or allegedly racially motivated.
Yeah, and that he's like being
As
blatant about
media
it.
would say. Yeah, I mean, definitely he's got all those same attributes, but I just think it's weird how it's not just violence that he's after, and it's not just like anybody that he's gonna kill.
Yeah, he's like actually going for a racial reaction.
Yeah, it's weird.
How and so now what a little more leaked out too about the time that he spent in the prayer group, you know, and supposedly he like explained some of it to them, right? You know, about. Do you know anything about this?
No, I just know what he allegedly said to
he
the
left
one survivor.
yeah, right, where he was saying, you know, this is because you're destroying you people are destroying the earth or whatever.
Oh yeah,
and like,
you rape our women.
yeah, and explain the whole thing. Imagine what was that? What the fuck? What is it like? Because he gave that speech to everybody before he shot him?
I guess, yeah.
So it's like they had to feel weird about that kid being there in the first place, and then it's like what that moment where he just gets up, like, all right, here's what's really fucking going on.
Pulls a gun out of his fanny pack.
Dude, holy shit! But all right, so again, we should mention because we do have we do carry the conspiracy crowd with us sometimes, and so for those listeners, we should mention the idea that this is a hoax,
Mm-hmm.
It got really big on Reddit. Look up the TPP that passed while this was going on, and there was a good Reddit thread I was looking at about how every time there's a controversial law being voted on in Congress, there's a mass shooting for distraction. So, of course, on Reddit it was just a giant fucking argument, but see what you can find about that, because the TPP passed. We should mention that and let people know what it is. Matt Gear, our old buddy, is joining us on the phone right now. Hello, Matt.
No, you have things all wrong.
Oh yeah.
This is David Box's employer. I have been trying to contact him for days now.
Holy shit, David Box.
Fuck.
There's some Indian guy is calling about some. Why was he supposed to do some work for you?
He had taken gross advantage of our free birdseed and sugar water policy.
Holy shit. Is Matt Gear riffing on a racially insensitive meme? I never thought I'd see the day.
The day has come.
So what's going on, dude?
No, really? No, I just wanted to call in and say hi.
All right.
Hi.
That was all. Just hi. And I was going to have some fun with you, but you announced my name, so...
Yeah, I kind of
You shit all over my bit.
Yeah, sorry.
But that was it. I'm painting. I'm fucking painting and painting. I really just wanted to say that anybody who missed your show yesterday sucks balls, because it was fucking rock and roll, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
it was really cool. And people that don't suck balls should also try to make it out to my event on July 3rd at the Pilsen Outpost at 1958 West 21st Street in Pilsen, the most dangerous area of the city. Come down, get shot, get stabbed, see some art. It's going to be wild.
What's the date on that again?
It is July 3rd.
July 3rd. Look up Matt Gear Art on Facebook, and you can keep up with him. All right.
Yes, buy art.
Support his wonderful Necrocolor series. I think that's what you're doing at this show, right?
It is half that, and the other half is going to be pretty much random, but it's smaller side series, about 4 other side series that I do.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be there, and I'm sure some of the Sunday evening overdose crowd will be out there. So,
I hope so.
We got to keep things moving. So
word. Have a good night, you guys.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
Later.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I thought I was gonna have to, do some back pay on that bird seed.
Yeah. Well, you got off light this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show was okay. Not enough people came. Next time I'll try to promote it a little better.
Yeah,
I didn't even go.
So all right, where were we here?
The TPP.
Yeah.
Which passed while everyone was talking about Dylan Roof, which is a trade agreement. It's confusing, obviously, because everything is, but it's a trade agreement that would allow trading to happen with 11 new nations who all have the ability to manipulate currency to make trading beneficial for them and not beneficial for us. So they would manipulate the value of their own currency. And Obama was like, no, but we have to do trade with them. Even if they're ripping us off, it has to happen.
Oh, okay.
So people are like, well, this is shitty. Why don't we just make stuff here? And he's like, no, we're just going to let them do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good distraction, I guess, to do a school shooting.
Yeah.
Or a church shooting.
I know. I kept saying school shooting too, just out of habit.
Do you think it's possible that they would have like families that are planted, and so, like, could this kid have been bred for this kind of thing? Like, hey, we need psychos whenever we want them.
No, yeah, okay, because we were going
pull the trigger on this guy.
We were going into the ultra conspiracy angle on this because immediately tons of videos came up. This is a fucking hoax. These are crisis actors, and of course, there's a couple things that look pretty compelling. Some of the stuff that we saw on Sandy Hook. Now they've gotten really good at trying to spot this stuff. And go, hey, look, these people don't actually look sad. There's no real tears. They're kind of pretending to crying. They're saying the exact same phrases over and over on a bunch of different channels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're just seem like they're reading a script. So I've seen a few things like that. Okay. The main thing about covering up that, that TPP passing is what most people were mentioning. But what else was there? Fuck. I don't remember what else was going on in the hoaxing. Why are you looking at me like that?
I just didn't know if it was something I knew about. I'm looking at you because I'm listening to you.
All right, well, help me out here. Dying.
Well, that's all I know about the shooter. I didn't have anything else, so that's why I was so interested in what you were going to say.
The more and more pictures and shit that come out, it seems like if this is a hoax, it's real elaborate. Like, where did they get this kid?
I know what I was
going to
say. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to answer that. Stuff like this. So the hoaxers are going to go like, this is all actors. This is, hundreds and thousands of people involved and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that it's not possible that stuff like that happens. Yeah. But I think it would be a much more simple explanation if you want to say that somebody high up somehow planned this and made it happen. I think a much more simple explanation would be a Manchurian Candidate type of situation, especially with something like this. It's just a guy walking in a room and shooting people. It's not the fucking most complicated thing in the world. It's really all it takes is to plant somebody with under hypnosis with the idea that, hey, when you hear this phrase, you get your gun and you go to Charleston, whatever church, and you start fucking killing people, Yeah. We said that guy, Darren Brown, dude, stop looking at me with this like really worried, confused face, please. You're freaking me out.
I feel like you're misreading me.
That guy, Darren Brown. Because I'm trying to remember a name, and you like look like you're like the look on your face is like, oh my god, he's not gonna remember it, and then it starts freaking me out. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Darren Brown.
You don't have to see now. She's turned away. This is
you did this.
Darren Brown is a guy who's like a I don't know maybe you could look him up since that's your job on the show, but he's like a mentalist. He's like he'll do shit like he'll go out to people or to like a jewelry store I've seen, and he'll go, all right, I'm going to buy a $10,000 necklace with these like 4 Post-it notes, and he just puts people in a trance when he talks to them. Mm-hmm. And he exchanges these like worthless pieces of paper for really expensive jewelry, and the guy stands there at the counter for like 5 or 6 seconds and then starts looking at the paper like, what the fuck is going on here? Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. He just shows how you can manipulate someone's mind. Mm-hmm. Way more, really effective and quickly. It's nuts the kind of shit he does.
Yeah,
he did an entire
scary.
episode. I think his show was on in Britain or something, and he did an entire episode of his show about a Manchurian Candidate where he set up this guy. Everyone else in the audience kind of knew what was going on except for the one guy who's the subject of an experiment, who he placed under hypnosis, saying it was about this other, there was a cover, hey, we're doing a show about this, but what he actually does is he programs him to kill somebody. And he gives him a gun with blanks and everything, and has this whole plan and stuff. And they set up a giant theater full of people, and he has the trigger phrase, And so when he says it, the guy, sure enough, just gets up and fires at his target, And just simple as that, just normal guy hypnotized once,
Whoa.
And so
that's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's been a reality for a long time.
And that's a thing that you can learn, too. I mean, it's not something that, like, you're not just born with the power to do that. It's a skill.
A guy on TV is able to just go, look, this is entirely possible. I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you in a half an hour exactly how it can be done.
There was a freelancer that I worked with one time who said his dad was one of those hypnosis people, and he had like a Vegas show and everything. And he was telling me that he like would make all the ladies in the audience come to climax. Like he'd set up a bunch of people to have an orgasm and shit. And I was like, that would like I'm never taking my lady to that show. That's fucking gross. Like that's like rape without touching somebody.
Yeah,
like
what if
I'm
you
not
didn't want that?
Fucking that's horrible. But anyway,
I'd like to see it though. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
it probably
it's like,
smells like so bad in there.
Right? If I was like walking past the building and I was like, oh, what's going on in here? Fucking fish fry, oysters. what is this? Like, no. You gotta check this out. And they told me that. I'd be like, all right, $10. Fuck.
I'll take a ticket.
All right, I'll come in. I gotta see this.
But yeah, that shit's crazy. Hypnosis and all that stuff.
Oh, it's entirely. So that's my thought on this. If you want to go the conspiracy angle, which I do,
it's
but
not.
I don't see. Like I said before, I still haven't seen much to hang your hat on, really. Other than the fact that just like, most things are somehow skewed or staged. So, in some small way at least. But
and the case still could be that this guy just did this thing and he really felt the way that he felt. And it's just a convenient thing to happen for.
That's the other thing, is it? Yeah, they will exploit
and they just
convenient.
reported it how they wanted to. Yeah.
Like, oh, thank God we really needed this. Holy shit!
But then again, I don't know. The timing is pretty fucking. Is pretty provocative.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's interesting
because we didn't even know about that stupid TPP thing.
No.
And apparently it's a pretty big deal, but we don't know why. We'll have to look into that a little more.
So our buddies who broke out of prison have been spotted, allegedly.
No, they haven't. Some idiot with nothing to do just saw a couple of shadows walk. It's like they've been spotted.
Yeah, well, the police...
really?
Very vaguely,
Dude,
the police
again, hold on. Let me say it again. I was completely right every step of the way so far.
Yeah.
I nailed this from the day from like the day that this happened. I was like, I'll tell you guys exactly what happened. Remember that whole thing? And then as all the details have come out, I was fucking exactly right. Dude, I was exactly right. And yeah, they're fucking long gone.
Yeah, so they were allegedly spotted 350 miles away from the prison. And police are calling it a credible threat, but they're not like real vague about what makes the actual
don't know anything.
Tip credible. You know what I mean?
They have nothing.
So they deployed a bunch of people to Friendship, New York, where they were supposedly spotted walking down the railroad tracks, and that's where they think they are now. I don't understand why they would still be together. It's been like 2 weeks since they broke out of prison. Wouldn't they split up? Wouldn't they have a better chance of surviving if they had split up?
I don't know about that. I don't know. Yeah, you might want to stick together just because you're both in the same predicament. And I mean, what's the point in splitting up? And then if one of you gets caught, you get fucking tortured into telling where the other one might be or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I was one of those dudes, I might just kill the other guy because I'd be,
One of them could be dead, and I would guarantee you it's the one that's not Richard Matt.
Yeah.
The fucking psycho. But yeah, I mean, I think if it were me, I'd probably not trust the other guy to not get caught. I'd be like, you gotta fucking, I don't know, dude, stay with me. I don't need.
Stay with me, or I will kill you.
Or maybe he's dead already.
Or maybe he's dead already. But
yeah, I like how they go, it's a sighting. They've said like, oh really? Who? Just somebody fucking saw two guys and said that must be.
Yeah.
Look at those two swinging dicks.
Yeah.
It's them.
It's clearly them.
I'm a celebrity now.
They were walking on the railroad tracks, and one of them, as the car approached, went into the woods, which this woman apparently thinks was suspicious enough to alert federal authorities.
There's no reason to go into them woods.
Yeah. Now, why would someone walk in the woods right as my car started pulling up?
She just caught like some kind of low rent hand job going down on the tracks. Like, oh fuck you, just walk, get away.
Yeah. Put your hood up.
Yeah. Two guys in boots and jean jackets just jerking each other off on the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
You got the image,
Who
right?
hasn't seen that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, sideburns.
You have to call the cops every time you see that.
Yeah. Jean jackets with no shirts. And the same color jeans as the jacket on. And then boots and just their dicks out.
Yeah.
With just through the fly. Just jerking each other off.
They have the rat tail haircuts, with mustaches.
Yeah,
God.
mustaches and sideburns, and just real serious too, not even enjoying it.
Yeah, no, just like obligatory.
That's what was going on there. But
Yeah, clearly. So they deployed a bunch of, FBI, forest rangers, local and state police, and corrections officers. All have been deployed down to Friendship, Illinois. They've got aerial searches going on, helicopters, dog teams, all-terrain vehicles.
wait,
and
Friendship, Illinois is where this
I know.
happened?
I'm sorry, Friendship, New York.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a friend. I was mainly excited that there was a place called Friendship, Illinois.
There's a Sandwich, Illinois.
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh, sorry.
So, but they have found exactly no clues. Absolutely nothing. So if they were there, they didn't leave a trace.
The coppers got nothing.
No, they're never going to find them. Not ever.
All right, what's the deal? We got a bunch of police news. Let's do.
Yeah. Should we?
Oh fuck! But we're right up on the break too. Let's go to a break really quick
All right.
and come back because I need to take a piss and cool off. It's fucking hot in here.
Yeah. It
Oh, and
sucks.
Tracy, if you're listening, you filled up the coffee pot like halfway. You made like half a pot of coffee of weak ass coffee. What the fuck is wrong with you? Would you please fucking get your coffee making skills together? It's ridiculous. I knew it was weak, but then after you left, I looked, I'm like, oh, it's done brewing. Like, it feels a little bit light. And I open it up, it's like half a fucking pot of... Who makes half a pot of coffee for 3 people to drink? Come on, Tracy. All right, we'll be back. What? What are you saying?
The fact that it's that like is a conflict because of ghost hunting makes it that much more interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. We were talking in the break about how it seems like a lot of paranormal investigators who we interview quite a bit, when I notice what they post on Facebook and stuff, and it seems like a lot of them are either somehow connected to law enforcement or supporters thereof, which makes things a little awkward for us.
Sometimes they are law enforcement.
Yeah, right. That'll happen, like in the first episode, as we were talking about. So you think we should try to get more of that going on, huh?
I mean, in the past you haven't talked about it. I forget that one guy's name who was
the first show, fuck, I don't remember who they were. I've tried, you know why? Because I haven't wanted to trash them, because they came on my show when we have no reason for anyone to do it. You know, I had no listeners, no nothing, no Facebook page or anything. No, you know, like nothing to prove that I was a show.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, we'll do it. You know. So I never wanted to trash them, but it ended up in a big argument, kind of. You know, and and they trashed us a little bit on their social networking and stuff.
Oh,
which
did they?
Nice. It's not really, but kind of. You know, they said something. You know. Their friends and family were trashing us, and they were kind of like just complicit, you know, in it. They didn't say much, but whatever.
Yeah,
they're calling us stupid, which is hilarious. I guess it was just actually. I guess it was just me because I was doing the show solo at that time.
Yeah,
but it was pretty hilarious because they came across so unintelligent, you know.
Yeah.
In the whole exchange. But so we had a big argument because I didn't know that that the guy was a cop, and he was my first guest on the show. And what was so good about that is the 20 minutes before they came on, you know, they had been listening to the show too. They were nice, you know. They were like, "Well, we're listening. It sounds good and everything." And for like 20 minutes before they came on, we just fucking. I had like 3 callers. Oh yeah, sorry, hit that air conditioner. I keep forgetting it's fucking hot in here. We're trying not to run the air conditioner during the show, but
it sucks.
So it turns out, you know, I have 3 callers or so call in, and there's all these police brutality stories, and we're just talking shit and talking about beating up cops and kicking them in the face and shit, and like why are there not crowds of people stomping cops down and stuff? And then I'm like, all right, let's go to our guest, and he's like, yeah, I should let you know, I'm a police officer, and I'm like, fuck. So then So then I had to challenge him and go, and he's like, well, I don't like the way you guys were talking about this. I'm like, well, what don't you like, and we just kind of got into it.
I remember he was like, well, if you're driving around, you have marijuana, you better believe that you could get in some trouble. And that was his stance.
It wasn't a very sophisticated debate, really. They were saying stuff like, well, let me ask you this. Did anybody put the baggie? He called it a baggie too. It's like, did anybody put that baggie of weed in your pocket, or did you buy it knowing it was illegal? We're like, you're such a cunt. Shut up.
Yeah, but when you
not the conversation we're having, guy.
Yeah, when you brought real morality, like man-to-man stuff, he did say eventually, like, well, I see what you're saying and everything. And I thought it was a good listen.
Yeah, it was fun to do, and it was fun to listen to. That's on YouTube. I don't know.
I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, find it. Tell people what it's called. But it all came down to, like it usually does, people for some reason cannot make the separation between legality and morality.
Yeah.
And they think that for some reason, since they're ordered to do something, it's written in stone somewhere, this is a law that makes the enforcement thereof, a moral thing to do. And I don't understand how anyone thinks that,
Mm-hmm. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's some roundabout arguments that would kind of make sense, such as like, yeah, we have to have some structure in society, and we've added things slowly one by one, and like, you need to uphold the sanctity of the law on the whole and whatever. And there might be something to that, but I'm just so far from fucking believing in any legal system of any kind at this point. Like,
yeah. But, having these people on and having the whole ghost hunting or interest in the paranormal thing in common is a good way for both parties to gain some perspective, because, you can give them your lesson in morality and they can, hopefully learn something. And ultimately you can talk about ghosts,
It's kind of sad when somebody's learning something about morality from me.
Yeah.
That's how you know how bad cops are. Like, that's fucking bad.
But,
I
it would make
not be the one teaching anyone.
It would make for a real good listen. Like, and it's weird that why are so many cops into the whole ghost hunting thing? And is there something to say about that?
When I originally realized that was going on, I'm like, it is true that a lot of the weird paranormal stories that come from cops, paramedics, people who are around tragedy all the time, people that have to respond to fucking violence and everything and stuff. And yeah, a lot of those classic story hospital workers or whatever, you know what I mean? There's like a lot of the paranormal stories that you hear do come from those lines of work. So I guess it would make sense that enough of them, would get interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, you have experiences, especially in areas of tragedy, so that makes sense. The video, for anyone who wants to find it, it's called The Sunday Evening Overdose Interview, Surprise Law Enforcement Debate with Bump in the Night Paranormal.
Bump in the Night Paranormal, that was them.
That's them.
And when you're doing that, you're talking when you're talking to a ghost hunter who's also a cop, you're talking to them when they're in their nerd mode. They're totally exposed.
Yes. Yeah, dude, that's funny. That's a great observation. You're right. He is way more vulnerable than normal,
Like, oh, shit.
That's true.
I am such a dork.
The guys at the station are going to be ripping on me because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're going to be fucking looking up my address.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't tell us what town he worked for, of course.
Yeah.
No cop ever, no
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
That makes sense.
It's not his own town. So New Orleans had a man being transported in a police car who somehow managed to get the police officer's gun away from him, shot the cop in the head.
I heard about this.
Whoa.
I heard about it on the AM radio.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at you.
That's where all the info's at.
Yeah.
That's where you can really dig into a story on good old AM radio.
Cutting edge.
Yeah.
Travis Boyes was being transported when he shot Officer Daryl Holloway in the head, and then he managed to get out of the car and fled on foot. They found him. They've caught him and arrested him now, but he.
So do you think the cops handled him roughly at all when they found him?
Oh no! Why would they?
What else? Go ahead.
Nobody knows how he got out of his handcuffs. And apparently the cop was around long enough to put up quite a struggle before he was shot. But yeah, they found him, and now he's probably just going to go to prison forever. But he had only been arrested for assault, an aggregate assault charge was what he had been arrested for initially. So
I got a text from our old pal Stizzy. He's called in a couple times. Let's see. You really never heard about the TPP? If not, even though media says it's secret and nobody knows what's in it, WikiLeaks dumped the whole thing out on the internet a week or two ago. And they released the table of contents and the chapter on intellectual property a year and a half ago. And then he says Obama trade. All right. Thanks, Dizzy.
thanks, Dizzy.
Interesting.
And yes, no, I really didn't hear of it until recently.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Is this different from T-Tip? Do you remember T-Tip?
It's probably connected.
Is it just the same thing?
I don't know. It's
They
like
renamed it?
it's like when they did like CISPA and then whatever the thing that was almost the same name, the Internet Security Bills or whatever.
And ISIS is no longer ISIS, right? They're just
IS.
They're IS.
They're the Islamic,
the Islamic State.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think you even say IS anymore. I think you just say Islamic
Is.
State. There is, yeah.
The terrorist group was shocked.
There was also another police shooting in Cincinnati where an officer was killed. Trey Pierre Hummins called 911 attempting to commit suicide.
What was that name?
Trey Pierre.
Trey Pierre?
Trepierre. Trey Pierre.
What a douchebag.
Yeah. Mr. Trey Pierre.
Trey Pierre.
Called 911 attempting to commit suicide by cop. He apparently had like posted
So he
on
just
Facebook,
wanted the cops to show up so he could fucking shoot at him and they would take him out?
shoot him. Yeah. So I guess his mom was
Why
there.
is that such a common thing to do? Like why?
Like it has
Suicide
its
by
own
cop.
name. Yeah.
Why? But why is that a preferred method for anyone to commit suicide? I guess maybe you just want to kill a cop too.
Yeah.
Also-
and also like once you engage, there's no going back.
Right.
You
You
love
know?
Quentin Tarantino films, and you just have to die in a shootout.
Well, that's
what
like
you want.
that's a big thing with attempted suicides is people are like, "Oh, I'm going to slit my wrist," and then when the time comes to actually do it, they like don't do it hard enough, and then
Pussies.
they don't die. You know,
I was once in a
It's scary.
bar.
Yeah.
I might even call it a tavern. And I'm hanging out, and this girl that I knew in high school, and I was probably about 25, 26, and she comes walking up, and she starts talking. You know, she's really annoying. I never liked this girl. She's like too tall, but she doesn't act like she's too tall. She tries to act like cute and small, but she's not. You know what I mean? She has
Okay.
like pigtails and like fucking 7 feet tall.
No.
You know, but yeah, she just bothered me. I don't know. And
Do you like my dress?
and she comes up, and within 2 minutes of talking, after we haven't seen each other for like 6 years, she brings up the fact that she supposedly attempted suicide, and I just immediately said, "Nah, I don't believe you." And because I was already annoyed, I was like, I want to cut ties with this person, you know.
Yeah,
So I just
get her outta
said,
here.
I just did like a Larry David. I was like, nah, I don't think you could have tried very hard. I mean, really, honestly, how hard is it really to kill yourself? So, you know, that's not. I'm sure you didn't actually want to do it. You know, she's like, no, I really did. I'm like, oh, what did you do? Fucking take a bunch of pills and call your best friend and tell her and lay down on the couch? Like, wow. You know, and it was pretty much exactly that when she
God.
told the story. She's like, well, no, my roommate found me. Oh, okay, great. You know, that's a great story. You know,
Yeah.
and she started getting mad. I'm just like, look, I don't care. I'm just sick of people just continuing to use what should be an embarrassing moment in your life and then still like continuing to try to like capitalize off the you know, thinking that you can get some sympathy or something. Like, come on, dude.
Oh, you poor.
You should be
thing.
ashamed of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
just telling people about that.
You can't just wander up to someone you haven't seen in years.
Just because it's Father's Day. I don't know. Should we take it? Should we bring old Pops back on the line?
Is he
called.
here?
He called again. Here.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah.
What up?
I had a friend who committed suicide by cop.
Really?
Oh.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of
He
here.
was actually a famous band leader back in the 70s,
This is gonna be a joke.
and I can't remember his real name, but his stage name was Dave Major.
Okay.
And he went over to his... I shouldn't be laughing, but...
It's Father's Day. It's okay.
It's Father's Day. But he went over to his ex-wife's house, and she saw him pull into the driveway and ran out the back door. And Dave was always known to be armed. You know, he was a famous gun-carrying band leader. Anyway, he went in and killed his ex-mother-in-law. And then...
Can you, like, cut out the pauses?
All hell broke loose and the house got surrounded by cops.
Yeah.
And he just came out shooting. And he knew, I mean, he didn't have a bulletproof vest on or anything. He was a sitting duck. And I knew this guy really well. But I think in his case it was easy. It was like inevitable. He already crossed the line. He knew he wasn't walking away from killing his ex-mother-in-law. Even though I didn't really even know that was illegal, but apparently it is. And everything everybody I talked to that knew him just said, well, it was a desperate last act.
It's awful.
Like there was it was terrible. I never worked for the guy, but I knew him real well.
Andrew, did you find anything about this?
That's kind of a generic. Is he Dave Major of Dave Major and the Miners?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see.
How did you not guess that when you looked that up? You're like, well, it couldn't be him.
Well, because he said the 70s, but I only found stuff about them from the 80s. So
doesn't know what he's talking about. He's old.
I mean, those guys were back when my band was making like $1,500 a week.
Ooh.
He was making like $3,500 a week. You know what I mean? He was very successful.
Well, that's why you should join the union, son.
Well, and I did. I was a member of the union. And I'll tell you what, it's a whole different subject, and the union had its shortcomings, not the least of which was the dishonesty of the officers. But we made money.
So, do you think you could go into like detail about what you think about the way unions affected the music industry a little bit?
Yeah, I think they.
Sorry.
Oh, shoot.
Shit. Happy Father's Day, Dad. We'll talk to you soon.
Dave Major murdered in February of 2000. Murdered his ex-wife and her new husband.
That just felt wrong.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna have to apologize to him now. Sorry, Dad. Go ahead.
He murdered his ex-wife and her new husband after some custody battles, and she was like not letting him see his kids. So he murdered his ex-wife and her new husband, and then was shot dead by police.
Do you think he's? You know what? He's probably still talking, huh?
Yeah.
He's just finishing up his explanation about now.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, Dad.
I don't. He'll appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the story.
All right. Back to the police news.
Yeah, police news.
What was next?
So we also have this is a new video that surfaced from December 2013 of a Chicago cop shooting wildly at a car full of teenagers. Just shooting them. They were speeding, and so they like blocked them off where they were headed. And do you have this video?
Oh shit, no. Let me pull it up. Sorry.
They were speeding, they blocked him off, and they started to like pull away from where they were being blocked in. And this cop you can see him on the video, just walking alongside of the moving vehicle, just firing and firing and firing in there. Fired over a dozen rounds.
I am playing the video as we speak.
All right.
So, oh yeah, wow, look at him going crazy.
Yeah. He pulls out his gun and holds it sideways. Did you see that?
Yeah, and they try to
like a
holy
thug.
shit.
Yeah.
Dude, they're trying to get away from him for sure, but like he's trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Oh, they got out and start running. He's firing at them.
Yeah.
Holy
there were 6
shit.
There were 6 of them in the car. He hit 2 of them. None of them died, but he hit 2 of them each twice.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like he just went all like action movie style. Just fucking ran down the street firing a gun into a car.
Yeah, with his gun sideways. He was like, "Oh, these kids are black. I better make them think I'm cool."
Dude. He starts. Yeah, he just fires straight through the windshield.
Is there no sound for this video?
I don't know. No, there's not.
Yeah, well, it looks like. I mean, reports say that he fired over a dozen times. It looks like he just like
Dude, he just
bam,
keeps,
bam, 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 bam. Look, and this guy comes running up.
Fucking fat waddling nothings these guys are.
So it eventually
just fucking zeros.
It eventually came out that the car was stolen, but they didn't know that when they started shooting at them. First of all,
yeah.
And now the 2 that were hit are suing the city of Chicago for right around $350,000 each. But this footage was never released before now. It had been like swept away.
Yeah, that's definitely. Oh, look, and they just.
Here comes another one.
So here at the end of the video, they capture all the kids and cuff them and stuff. Those, like, so I guess the fuck was
Did you
that?
see that?
Yeah.
They're all freaking out too, and they're like, they just start jumping around and pulling out their guns again.
Yeah,
Why?
these teenagers are completely unarmed. None of them had a single weapon, not even a knife or anything.
This
now,
fucking dude is still dodging
Dude, these
around.
fucking cops
What
are
the fuck is going
psychos,
on?
dude.
Yeah.
This is fucking disturbing.
Yeah. They
Look how fucking dramatic and like, Jesus Christ.
They're black. They might have guns. Better get our guns first.
Well, when you explain it that way.
Yeah. So the Chicago Police Department policy prohibits officers from firing into a moving vehicle unless necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to the officer or another person. So not only was the vehicle moving away from them, there were no cops in the path whatsoever. There was nobody in any danger at all. And none of them had weapons, so they couldn't even be like, "Oh, I thought he was going to shoot me," or "Oh, I saw him reaching for something." None of them. Plus, it's pitch black. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just another fucking insane shooting that can't be justified. I mean, what, like, that's a thing that happens a lot now for some reason, is people are running away, which, okay, I understand they're running away, and you're expected to stop them somehow. But you don't just get to kill them.
No. Why don't you point the gun at the tires of the car if you're trying to keep them from getting away? Why don't you
Whatever.
get back in your car and
let's
chase
get through
them?
this shit. This is why I don't leave the house. It's fucking terrifying.
All right. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled. Now, you said you didn't really care about this, but I think it's worth mentioning. The Supreme Court ruled that police can no longer make
I did
you wait.
not say that.
Well, they can't. Wait, let me say what it is. That police are not allowed to make you wait for drug dogs to arrive during a traffic stop. So it's officially not constitutional to detain you while they find a reason to detain you.
What I said is, how are you ever supposed to execute that?
Right.
You know, which, so I guess it might have some bearing on your court case if you get charged and they had made you wait for a drug dog to show up and they weren't supposed to. Maybe a bit. Dude, every time I've ever been arrested, they've done something illegal, and there's something that supposedly, according to our education on how this is supposed to work, should have negated the arrest. You know, like every time I've been fucking arrested for weed, almost all of them were illegal searches. You know, I've had lawyers to argue that it never goes anywhere. The
it
judge
doesn't work.
The judge with an arrogant fucking look on his face will look at. I've watched my lawyer hand him what do they call it, precedents or something. You know, like it's just like previous Supreme Court rulings and stuff like that.
Right.
And so I've watched my lawyer hand that stuff to the judge, and the judge look at it as though he was really amused that this was going on, with this sort of just this whimsical look on his face, like, okay, yeah. He, the lawyer even kind of handed it to him in this, excuse me, in this way of like, you know, I got these if you want to look at them, you know, and the judge is like, I guess. Here, let me take a look.
What if
and he literally
you put together?
He flips through them like a fucking limp-wristed aristocrat. I fucking wish those two wrists weren't so close to each other in that. But so he like flips through it like a limp aristocrat, and literally just like leafing through it for a second. He's like, no, I'm not gonna throw the search out. You know, just like he was never gonna consider it. They don't give a fuck, dude. They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
No, because if they throw it out, it doesn't earn any money, and that's all that there is to it.
They don't give a shit.
Well, somebody won though. He was in possession of methamphetamine. Rodriguez. This is the case of Rodriguez versus the United States. A police officer issued a citation for erratic driving and then forced him to wait 7 or 8 minutes until another officer walked a drug dog around his vehicle. He was found to be in possession of methamphetamine. However, the Supreme Court ruled that the search of his car was illegal, and therefore the evidence gathered against him is inadmissible at trial. So now the issue, I guess, is about whether the dog sniff occurs before or after the ticket is issued. So it's not legal if the dog sniffing adds time to a routine traffic stop. If you get pulled over by the
this
canine,
country is so fucking weird. I fucking hate this country, dude.
No.
I used to be the biggest patriot. It's stuff like this is fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? What a weird law. I can't take this, you know? What are you guys looking at?
David Box was raising his hand. I wasn't sure if he was trying to interject with something.
No, ignore me.
Relax. You know what I mean, though? What fucking bullshit minutia we have to wade through because of the tyrannical fucking drug laws in this country. Like, what the fuck? So, you know what I mean? It's just when it comes down to something like this. No, police go, we've made an official decision of the great minds, you know, that in the Supreme Court have weighed the pros and cons of the implications of this. What are you fucking losers doing?
Someone more important than you has made a decision for your life.
You fucking cocksucking assholes. Just what a collection of fucking assholes. This is and this is we're supposed to treat this with some sort of reverence, and we're supposed to be impressed. But oh, cool, okay, wow, they're really upholding liberty, huh?
Yeah,
keepers of the peace.
Yeah, dude, this is just fucking. You know what I mean by that? Why this drives me nuts?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just so far from what the discussions we should be having.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's seen as a victory by so many people too.
How about we don't have
drug dogs?
How about we don't have fucking thugs dressed in black, armed to the teeth, who are just going psycho all over the place? Yeah, like rooting out substances that have been banned. You know, how we work on that a little bit? Like,
yeah, like, is this really the best we can do?
Yeah, well, that's fucking great.
Well, that's police. We got part 2 coming up here of North Korea.
Is that already right now?
Yeah.
All right, give me a minute.
Sweet.
You like the North Korea?
Yeah, I love North Korea.
The North Korea.
I love the great leader. There's no other choice. Keep your voice down, Jesus.
Well,
love our leader, our
you talked about how
leader of North Korea.
I share a lot of views with North Korea.
You talked about how what does that mean?
Remember the Israel documentary about Israel that I watched?
Oh, yeah. Okay, your hatred of Jewish culture.
Oh, whoa! Pump the brakes there, buddy.
No, your fear of Zionists.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, my interest in it. My interest in Israel.
Andrea is doing her 100 minutes. This is our whole thing. We're doing 5-part series of 5 20-minute parts each. Andrea took the first one on North Korea, so this will be part 2 tonight in our 100 minutes on North Korea series. What are we talking about tonight?
Tonight, we're going to talk about how North Koreans hate America.
That's how stupid this music is.
I know. This is North Korean music.
Why do marching bands exist? Why did every marching band not go away in like 1940 when it became truly irrelevant?
Right.
Why is this still a thing? Whatever. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm taking away.
That's right.
All right, start the clock now.
All right, tonight we're going to talk about how North Koreans hate America but are obsessed with American culture. So as I kind of talked about in the last segment, there are a bunch of songs and lullabies and nursery rhymes and stuff like that people sing to their small children. And I got the lyrics. There's in the National Geographic documentary Inside North Korea, there's a clip of a woman singing a nursery rhyme to her daughter as they're walking to school. The girl is like 3 or 4 years old. And the lyrics are, "The pathetic Americans kneel on the ground. They beg for mercy."
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's some metal fucking lullaby right there.
Yeah. So something that a lot of people I think don't realize about North Korea is that we're their number one enemy. We are the reason to them that Korea split in the first place. We are the people who created the Korean War. It's our fault that the country is divided.
Is it?
Not entirely.
Probably.
Yeah, I bet we had something
In
to do with
some
it.
Well, we had something to do with it. Yeah. Well, because
I'm
we
totally guessing, but I bet that's a thing.
we had supported the southern part of the country during World War II, and Russia had supported the northern part of the country because that's what they're connected to, and that's what caused the clashing after World War II was done, which is when the Korean War started in 1950, and it was because it was really America versus Russia more than anything, or America versus communism more than anything. But the North Korean propaganda machine is amazing, as we kind of talked about before too, and they are constantly saying things like, let's see, America is the arch criminal and an unchangeable principal enemy of North Korea. America is a toothless wolf and the empire of devils.
Sweet.
A toothless wolf.
Yeah. And they go on to say, no matter how desperately the U.S. may roar, it is nothing but roar of a toothless wolf. The incarnation of all sorts of evil, the empire of devils, is bound to grow old and go to ruin. This is the law governing the historical development. So they're basically saying the U.S. is not a threat to us. They're just a big thing that's going to collapse in on itself, and then we'll take over. Let's see, Kim Jong-un says that his great-great-great-grandfather defeated U.S. imperialists in 1866. So that's how far back his American killing goes. They also, and we'll get into this in a future segment, but they swear to God, North Korea swears that they have missiles that they can fire from their country that will reach all the way to Washington, D.C. And they're absolutely sure of that fact.
Do they believe in God?
Huh?
They believe in God?
Well, they believe in the great leader. They swear to the great leader.
Is he like God? Is that the deal?
Yeah, he's very godlike.
And what happens when he dies and they go, okay, well, now there's a new one?
No, it doesn't make any sense.
All right, keep going.
Doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Well, but they do compare us to devils, and America is a group of Satan bent on destroying Korean religion. American ideological and cultural poisoning is undermining socialism in the world. So they have some very strong feelings about how we affect the world. However, all of the great leaders have had a bizarre fascination or borderline obsession with American culture itself.
This is like common between all of them?
Yeah. There's very little documentation of...
How many have there been?
Three.
Okay.
Yeah. Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un.
Go.
In that order. So Kim Il-sung, who founded the country, there's very little about his obsession with it because there was less information sharing at that time. He had the place really well locked down.
Right.
However, it's pretty common knowledge that Kim Jong-il had some weird fascinations with American culture, including Michael Jordan. Kim Jong-il at his palace had a recording of every single game Michael Jordan ever played in. He owned a copy of every single NBA game with Michael Jordan in it. He was also a really big Bulls fan and was a huge fan of Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman has traveled to North Korea on diplomatic trips several times since then, just to he went there to meet Kim Jong-il because he heard he was a big fan and stuff. And Dennis Rodman was like, "Man, maybe I can bridge the gap between our countries, and I'll go see them."
That's his story.
He also Kim Jong Il also had a collection of thousands of Hollywood movies, all created in America, which is one of the main things that they advocate against, which is Western culture and especially American movies, because they think that American movies are what brainwash us. So our movies would be brainwashing his own people against him.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And they also depict like a world that is not terrible, like he convinces his people it is. You know, he tells them, oh, America is, you know, their people are starving. They don't have anything either. They don't, you know, this is how it is in the whole world. And then they get a movie and there's like 100 cars in every shot of the movie, and everybody's eating big dinners, and they're like depicting average people in America, you know, so
right.
It completely contradicts the things that he's saying.
Yeah.
So he doesn't let any of that media to his people.
But he fucking loves it.
But he has thousands of Hollywood movies.
Well, it would make sense. I mean, he wants to live decadently. There's nothing about this that's like, you know, somehow valid or noble, like to any of this shit at all. It's, you know, it totally lines up so far.
It's interesting that you use the word decadently, because that leads me to my next thing about Kim Jong-il, which is one of my favorite facts about North Korea.
Uh-huh.
Kim Jong-il, at one point, was the largest single account holder with Hennessy. He spent more money on Hennessy than anyone else in the entire world at any given time.
That's dope.
That's crazy, right? He was obsessed with it. And that's another part of American culture. He loved the decadent liquors, decadent things from America and from the West.
So dope.
While he promised that Western culture was poisoning his own culture.
What a dick.
So now his son, first of all, there was a different son who was supposed to take over after Kim Jong-il, but then he was removed of that title after he was caught traveling to Japan with a fake passport so that he could go to Disneyland in Japan. And Kim Jong-il was like, absolutely not. You're not doing a Disney thing. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, you will never lead this country. That's, you know, Western crap, whatever.
Yeah.
So Kim Jong-il named Kim Jong-un as his successor. And since Kim Jong-il's death, Kim Jong-un has done some fucking weird stuff with Disney characters.
I actually just got a tip from one of our listeners. He texted me, he said, look up North Korea miracle drug. And just since you said Kim Jong-un has done some weird stuff, I guess he claims to have cured AIDS, Ebola, and cancer with a single miracle drug.
All right.
I fucking love this guy, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, he's done some...
Look at him in there with a lab coat on.
Explaining something to them, you know?
No way.
Yeah.
There's also recent...
But he wears a lab coat, like, over his dictator trench coat. Yeah. You know, he's got that just real classic, like, I'm about to kill 70,000 villagers coat. You know?
Yeah. He also, this is a little reported story that I'm going to get more into in a future bit as well. But Kim Jong-il had massive plastic surgery. I'm sorry, Kim Il-sung.
Who cares?
Whatever. He had massive plastic surgery to look more like his grandfather who founded the country. And also, something that has been widely underreported is that he started a huge crystal meth production in North Korea and has been selling it to China to try to earn money for the country.
What?
Is they're selling crystal meth as a country. Yeah, and we'll get more into that.
What does that mean?
The government is creating crystal meth and selling it in China.
Selling it to who in China?
To crystal meth users. They have like a cartel style setup.
Okay.
And China's
fucking crazy about drug laws.
And they're an ally of North Korea, so they're able to get it through
and get some things done. Well, obviously China's like a complete cesspool of corruption, even worse than here, I think. But, you know, it's like their drug laws are so insane, though. It's whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Go ahead.
So anyway, back to Kim Jong-un and his Disney obsession. Now, since he has started ruling the country, he's had several ceremonies where he has performers on stage playing, let's see, Mickey Mouse, the cast of Snow White, Dumbo, Beauty and the Beast, and a bunch of other like Disney characters, and he incorporates them in like his political shows and like his appearances. His political appearances all have Disney characters, which people are excited about because so many civilians want to embrace Western culture.
Yeah. And they get a little bit of it from like people sort of like sneaking it in.
Yeah,
right?
There's a whole network of people who bring in flash drives of movies and people, talk news and TV shows and stuff like that. So there's a growing culture among the civilians that they want to start embracing Western culture. Now, I don't know why Kim Jong-un would want to perpetuate that. I mean, I feel like North Korea works because they're so secluded and they have nothing to compare it to, and they can't be like, oh my God, look. There is a clip of some girls who get a movie for the first time, an American movie for the first time, and they press play on the movie, and the first thing they say is, oh my God, look at all the cars. Look at the cars.
Yeah.
And it's just like seeing a road full of cars is so bizarre for them, even in Pyongyang, which is the largest city in North Korea.
Yeah.
And it's where the elite live. Kim Jong-un has a fleet of 80 or 90 limousines all for himself.
Nice. Well, yeah. Why not?
And none of his people have any cars.
He probably does that thing every time he leaves the house of like having 12 of the same car, and then they all split up in different directions in case there's like an assassin.
Yeah.
We are gonna get into that at some point too, right? About the underground revolutionary movement in North Korea.
Yeah, we got a whole big thing about that.
That has to be a fucking hardcore group.
Yeah, they're the people who are organizing an underground revolution and trying to transport information in and out are taking a huge risk just to get people to know what it's like.
All right, I can't wait to get into that, but go ahead.
Yeah. All right, so Kim Jong-un also has an incredibly extensive collection of Nike sneakers, specifically Nikes. He owns just about one of every style that they have, and a bunch of custom ones and limited edition and limited production ones. He also has...
Who has Nikes? Like, who's still buying Nike? Is that still a thing?
North Koreans.
Like, that's not... Nikes aren't popular anymore, are they?
Just do it.
They're still around.
I know, but they just have those like shitty looking running shoes and stuff now. Like,
yeah, but now they also have like sweatbands and T-shirts and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just shoes.
Oh, okay. That's shit.
No, he only collects the shoes actually, but he also has an entire room in his palace that's filled with NBA memorabilia, including autographed photos.
This guy's such a fag.
Kobe Bryant stuff, Tony Kukoc, Michael Jordan, and a bunch of LA Lakers stuff. And he has literally a whole room full of it. So that must be something he learned from his dad, because his dad was such a big basketball fan. But so they're so adamantly reject American and Western culture on the surface, and then secretly they're all spending all of their money to get it for themselves. Which is pretty fucked up. So, did you have anything else on that miracle drug while we're on it?
I don't know. I mean, it's just a bunch of bullshit. They're like claiming they cured 56% of people in a study with AIDS with this drug.
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about them, too, is that their government is so controlling of all of the information. They get to say that kind of stuff.
They also claim that, what's the guy's name? He was, Kim Jong-un was born on top of a North Korean mountain, prompting a double rainbow and a new star to spontaneously appear.
Yeah.
See, you can't really trust them on everything.
He was born of a god.
Right.
He's part god. So all of his successors are also part god. They don't believe that the great leader ever eats or goes to the bathroom. He's infallible. Which is another thing that I have so much trouble understanding, because then why does he die? And how does a country recover from that?
They don't actually believe it. They're fucking terrified.
Yeah, they're terrified. It's terrifying.
I love these staged pictures that they have of the great leader, like with his lab coat, like he's explaining something. And then remember the one where he's in the war room?
Yeah,
and they have the missile
we're going to talk about that one. Well, let's just talk about it now. A few years ago, North Korea, right when Kim Jong-un took power, He was threatening to launch missiles at the American mainland. And there's this great photo. I'm going to find it and put it up for everybody. But there's a wonderful photo of him sitting in the North Korean war room. And behind him is a world map with a bunch of lines drawn on it going from North Korea to America. Which, first of all, why would he just be sitting in that room in front of that map if not to pose for a picture? First of all, why would that map even exist? Second of all, the lines that were drawn, it was supposed to be understood that the lines represented missile trajectories that would be hitting the mainland. But the way the lines were drawn, missiles don't fly like that. So they were just drawn in for like a theatrical purpose. Furthermore, to have a missile that would travel that distance, you would need to have a satellite orbiting the Earth to help regulate where it's going and send it messages and stuff. North Korea did launch a satellite right after Kim Jong-un took power, but it immediately started spiraling out of control and just flinging itself around the Earth, and they never regained control of it. It's just up there hurtling around completely out of control, useless to everybody, and endangering other satellites going around the Earth. So,
way to go, guys.
Yeah, here we go. There he is. And there's also a message. I forgot about this. There's a message written like a big label at the top of the map in the background. I don't know if you can see this. But in Korean, it basically says North America mainland missile attack plan. Like, just in case you weren't sure what we were supposed to be looking at here, that's exactly what it is.
God, what a cartoon this country is.
Yeah.
It's fucking out of this world.
It's a real joke, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
And it's also unbelievable how little we still know about it, too. I mean, for as much information as there is, they are so isolated and so selective of things that actually get officially released. Now, this photo of him in the war room with, you can see these stick straight lines drawn across the map here, and that's the United States kind of above the guy on the left.
Okay.
Why the fuck would this ever exist in real life? I mean, he said to himself, okay, let's put this map here. We're going to take this picture with these army generals behind me. I'm going to sign some shit that looks super official and scary. Well, what if people don't know what the map is? All right, put a label on it that says and then someone will accidentally leak it.
Yeah, I do. It's hard to like even keep a conversation. I know this, it just ends up being just like us just reciting facts about the because it's like I'm too mind blown to even comment on it in any coherent way. You know, I'm just like, how the fuck? All I want to keep thinking is just how. What, by the way, did I just really say a weird mixture of thinking and saying? I'd like to listen to that. I don't know what I just did there, but all I keep wanting to say is just what the fuck is going on here? How did they do this?
It's such.
How did it get this way?
Yeah,
it really is just a theater of a system. There, it really everything they do is theatrical. Like none of it's real.
Remind me again, how did the original guy get to power?
He was a rebel. He rose up through the military during World War II.
So
and then seized power after the war.
So it was a military coup.
Yeah.
God damn! So they were fucking. He probably started just like a ruthless faction that just will.
It's called. His method was juche, which is basically fuck you. I'm doing this.
And the thing that just keeps coming back to me is like the only thing that could cause a social climate like this and like cause people to go along with this is just the threat of violence so fucking terrifying that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah,
and that must be culturally ingrained in them. So how the first guy that rose to power, it must have just been fucking brutal,
just slaughtering everybody,
for everyone to still. No, just like, okay, don't say anything. It's good that you did that. It's just that fucking everybody's in that Twilight Zone episode of the fucking little kid. It's, you know, that's exactly the situation there.
Send him to the farm. Yeah. So that's a good lead in for what will be our next piece, which is the theater of their success, which includes things like building fake towns to incite jealousy in South Korea. The largest hotel in the country is just the outside of a hotel. It's called the worst hotel in the entire world. It's in Pyongyang. They do American tourism, but it's so controlled. And then they have lots of things. The War Room photo was another example that I had for the theater of their government.
The sound of the North Korean marching band means the 20 minutes is up for today.
So tune in next time for the Theater of Success.
Next episode, 20 more minutes on North Korea, totaling 100 by the end of this whole thing. So there we go. Good job, Andrea. We're going to take a quick break and come back and do a few more minutes. Maybe an hour, whatever. We'll see what's going on.
It is 1,000,000 degrees in here.
Dude, it's so fucking hot in here. We have to do something because the air conditioner's too fucking loud to run in here while we're recording. I don't know. I guess we could just talk over music for the whole show, and then it would kind of, you'd be able to.
It'd be pretty funny.
Hear it a lot less. We could try that.
Might be better than what we're doing.
I suppose it would be. We'll be back after 3 songs. And we're back on the Overdose. What was that? Idle Rich. The Idle Rich was the name of that band. I was digging that.
Yeah, I like them. We play them from time to time.
We got a few local bands have sent us their shit. We need, if you guys are listening to this and you got, it doesn't have to be Chicago area stuff, but we're focusing on undiscovered. Can you hit that switch over there? Yeah. The undiscovered artists on the show most of the time, and so if you've got friends that have got a good album or whatever, send it in. Sunday evening overdose at gmail.com, and we can play it during the break. If it's not fucking like emo, that's like the only thing, pop punk bullshit.
No fag music.
Just not fag music. I would literally rather listen to a guy rapping about sucking dicks and getting fucked in the ass. That would be less gay than an emo song about a girl. It's just, don't send us any pop punk or any of that bullshit. Well, and
send us something downloadable too, or else we can't use it.
Yeah. Yes. Send us a link to a free download. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Anyways, Idle Rich, that was cool. What is going on with these presidential candidates? It's crazy. It's like the same 2 families for 30 years. I can't believe it. I mean, what are we going to do?
Well, here's something they're doing. They're using a service called Rent-A-Crowd.
Cool. You know what was funny how this came out was that people were suspicious that Jeb Bush had a crowd.
Yeah,
that was how this whole thing started getting looked into.
Wait
it was
a
like,
second.
Yeah, people got to be like, why would anyone? I mean, and by the way, though, can we just talk about that for a minute? Like, is this real? Are we really the same family? Is this really happening? Because it's already bad enough, the illusion,
right,
of the 2-party system. It's already bad enough, and now they're taking it to this extreme.
Yeah.
Because the way the media is setting it up already. I've always been right about this before, but I can tell you who the 2 candidates will end up being.
Yeah, who are you picking?
It's Hillary and Jeb Bush. It's gonna be.
Is it Hillary?
Everyone's gonna go nuts. I'm gonna go fucking crazy myself.
Yeah.
It's just not that I have wanted to vote anyways, but it's just such an insult.
Right.
It's just such a fucking. That's what I've seen. Honestly, you can usually tell years beforehand, but just by the way media treats people. Like, you remember with Barack Obama, when it was him and Hillary, who were vying for the Democratic ticket. You could just tell by the the subtle cues in the media, like, he's the winner. Okay, it's just easy to see, and that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. I think it's Hillary and Jeb.
Yeah. Well, even though everybody was so surprised about Jeb's crowd.
Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's just get into it. I don't know, because
I don't know. I kind of think. I kind of feel like
I'm just going off gut. What do you think?
I kind of feel like you're probably right, but from what I've seen, Bernie Sanders has been more predominant from the Democratic side.
No,
yeah. Based on
it'll
my
be that same old idiotic argument of like Bernie Sanders is too extreme, so he's gonna split the vote up, and it'll be some bullshit, and that's how they'll explain it. Well, Hillary was able to gain enough support because Bernie Sanders drew off this demographic and blah blah blah, and that was who so and so would have had to rely on and blah. You know what I mean? It'll just be some bullshit political explanation like okay, right? No, it's not rigged. Fine.
No, and you're probably right. But and I think I said this on the last show too when we were kind of talking about the candidates. I am so fascinated by the theater at this point. I know it's bullshit. I don't care who gets elected because no matter what happens, it's going to be the same thing. But I am so eager to see if there are fucking people in this country that want to elect a Bush or a Clinton to be their president.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to get a lot of support. That's what's fucking scary.
Yeah. Scary. That's a good word for it.
I don't want to live here anymore. What's a country that makes sense? Where can we go?
Iceland.
This place just makes no sense.
Iceland is the only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they have liquor made out of moss there because they don't have any trees.
I thought you said it made sense. No, you know what I mean? I just want to leave. This fucking sucks, dude.
Isn't there a place that's yet unclaimed?
There's like a lot of... You could just live in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost ready to do that.
Don't bears live there, though?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's generally somewhat of a myth.
No such thing as bears.
Can we move this along, please?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So the Rent-A-Crowd, one of the high-ups, and the Crowds on Demand is the name of the company, Adam Swart has said, we've worked with dozens of candidates in the U.S., primarily but not exclusively Republican. Mostly there are candidates who suffer from lack of enthusiasm or turnout at rallies and are in need of a game change.
Okay.
Just, some people to look at everyone else and say, come on in, the water's fine.
Generally, our clients are people who would like to be popular but aren't. People who would like to be successful and would like to be... elected to positions of importance, but no one actually likes them, so they need a little jump start. What is this idea too? This is what just sickens me about this. Is why I say this. I want to be done with this fucking country. I just want to leave. Because when it comes to shit like this, it's like, look at that. Look at the idea of that. A person who no one wants to support is going to force their way onto the political scene, and they do it all the time. I mean, it's not as though we go, holy shit, this guy has invented 7 really useful things. He's clearly a brilliant, innovative mind. Look how well spoken. He's written 3 books. He's a master of the language. He's got all these great qualities. I would love to have him support us and represent us to, you know what I mean, to the rest of the how far removed we are from anything resembling that.
Yeah.
Just makes me fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to fucking get out of here. But there's nowhere else. Where the fuck are you going to go? I got to go to Iceland where everybody has that weird fucking haircut and a pointy nose and their jeans, they're too skinny. I'm not going there.
Yeah, that's true. Their jeans are way too skinny.
What's going on in Iceland?
Now,
with them jeans.
Why is everyone in Iceland so awkward? Yeah.
It's cold there and dark all the time.
I've met people from Iceland, and that's what they were like. They were like that, just weird. Like they look like they look like they're wearing Kmart clothes. Like everything is cut wrong, kind of. And there's awkward looking people.
They all have those big furry hats.
What else on this company?
Well, they claim to have only worked with one presidential candidate to date. Usually, it's congressional or Senate races that they're hired for. But they won't say who, and they say that the crowd brings more media attention, gives them better photo opportunities. They specifically create crowds of diverse gender, race, and age, so it looks like everybody can relate to whatever this person is saying.
Yeah, so Jeb Bush got caught using one of these services, or no?
No, it's just been widely speculated that he has.
Okay.
Yeah, so the man from Crowds
Jeb.
on Demand.
And he's trying to brand himself without the Bush name.
Yeah. That's his technique.
That's gonna help him hide,
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
I think it's a good idea for you to distance yourself from the Bush name.
Yeah, I don't want to be associated with all the other presidents in my family.
Yeah. Because they were so good. I want to make my own name.
Family's nothing but presidents and Nazis.
What a fucking idiot.
Really, what? I mean, I've just had enough at this point, you know?
It's unbelievable.
I can't take this anymore. I seriously can't.
If it does come down to Jeb Bush and anybody else,
guess what?
Like
Guess what?
Him and
Hold
anyone
on.
else, it's just terrible.
Then when it comes time for the election, someone is going to make a condescending remark to me about how it's like a shame I don't exercise my right to vote.
Yeah.
And I am going to stick a shotgun up their I'm going to stretch their urethra out. Oh my God. I'm going to stick a shotgun up their dick. Or their, what's the pee hole on a girl called?
I think it's also a urethra.
Well, I guess, yeah, but all right, whatever. Anyways,
I mean, just stuff it up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna stretch out their pee hole. I'm gonna stretch their pee hole out enough to stick a fucking 12 gauge up, and then I'm not even gonna fire it. I'm just gonna fuck their dick with a 12 gauge. That's how pissed off I'm gonna be.
I don't know, that's a plan. Well, the good news is that we have an update on the origin of human beings.
Oh.
Is that it? Are we done with the crowds? I guess. Yeah. What the fuck?
Can I hire a crowd to fucking storm Washington, D.C. or anything like that?
We should
sure
hire a crowd to just beat the shit out of every politician they come across. Can we do that?
Can you pick the type of people that are in your crowd?
I
think customize your crowd?
I think they automatically generate a diverse crowd for you.
How great would it be to be rich and just become a politician and start hiring those crowds of but just hire weird. I only want black midgets. That's the only. I just want to, and I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just going to. I'm just gonna point to them as my supporters, you know.
Yeah.
But also be like a crazy right wing extremist, you know, and then just have whatever.
The black midget vote.
And never say anything about it. Just never acknowledge it. And when people ask you about it, it's I don't want to focus on trivial issues like that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What kind of question is
just turn around. I honestly hadn't noticed, and now that you point it out. Okay, I see what you mean, but what does it matter?
Yeah.
But just every time you go somewhere, you have another just absurd, group of all one person.
Yeah. Albinos.
Dude, that's the kind of politician I would be.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of cool politicians, what's going on with Vermin Supreme?
Oh, Vermin Supreme.
We should do some updates on him at some point.
We should, yeah.
Who?
The Vermin Supreme. Well, you know what? We can play that again, right? We haven't played it in a long time.
No, that's fine.
Why don't you get into this other story? I'll find some Vermin Supreme.
Okay, so in the meantime, Dr. Eugene McCarthy points out that there is a good chance that humans are actually a crossbreeding of pigs and chimpanzees.
Confirming suspicions I've held all along.
Yeah, I think we all kind of had those suspicions.
Some creepy pictures in this article.
But
this is from Disclosed TV, so it's probably made up.
Yeah. But he suggests that many features distinguish us from primates, and the only other animals which also have these features are pigs. So I'm going to put the link for everybody to see the pictures as well. But I never would have thought that pigs would be up in there.
What year is it?
I think there's
2015.
Okay.
There's stuff in the Bible about a pig heart, and also I think that a pig's heart can be used as a heart transplant in humans, or it's been theorized that you could use a pig's heart.
Yeah, they've done that, and they use pig valves and stuff to rebuild human hearts. So I guess it's not that crazy,
what the
but
fuck?
I don't think that's real. I don't know. All right.
So is there anything backing this up at all, or
no? Just this guy's theory. His there is a video that I think you have. Go ahead.
Oh, is there? Sorry, go ahead.
Let's see. The human species began. Well, he claims that the human species began as the hybrid offspring of a male pig and a female chimpanzee. And an American geneticist has a startling claim. Wait, I'm sorry. An American geneticist has been made by Eugene McCarthy. Okay, so they're saying he's a geneticist who's saying that that's actually where our DNA came from, was the combination of pig and chimpanzees. He is one of the world's leading authorities on hybridization, and points out that while humans have many features common with chimps, we also have a large number of distinguishing characteristics not found in any other primate. So
yeah, there is some weird shit.
But
our skin is weird. It's very piggy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why organic evolution wouldn't also produce the same. It would create.
I don't understand any of this.
Create people who are different from chimpanzees because we evolved away from that. But
So what? You don't
but
think?
It's also,
look at this picture. It's so fucking creepy,
I know.
dude. Look at it's like
I put that on the page. For
the
everybody
picture on
too.
this article is just like such a weird cross between a monkey and a pig, human face looking thing.
Yeah.
I could see. Yeah. That looks like a person. Should I play this
We're
thing?
getting there.
Yeah.
Who cares, right?
Who
Might as
cares?
well. Hold on, it's coming up now. Well, what do you think about this?
Well, I was going to say, I don't think that it's fair to say just because we share characteristics that it means we came from them, because we share characteristics with dogs, too. Humans and dogs are the only mammals with prostates.
Is that true?
Uh-huh.
Dogs got a prostate, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You've
So-
never
You experimented
never
with that?
experienced your dog's prostate.
No.
Creepiest way
Oh,
to say
gross.
I don't like that you put it like it would be like enlightening or something.
that. Yeah. Never experienced it?
What the fuck is this video?
The human species began as the hybrid offspring of a male pig and a female chimpanzee, an American geneticist has suggested. The startling claim has been made by Eugene McCarthy, who is also one of the world's leading authorities on hybridization in animals.
Oh, he doesn't look
He
crazy
points
at
out
all.
that while humans have many features in common with chimps,
That guy looks
we
like a
also
big
have a
fucker.
large number of distinguishing characteristics not found
That's a
in any
bald
other
chimp.
primates.
That's hilarious.
Dr. McCarthy says these divergent characteristics are most likely the result of a hybrid origin at some point far back in human evolutionary history.
Yeah, this is pretty much
What's
just going
more,
over.
he suggests there
World
is one
evolution.
animal that has all of the traits which distinguish humans from our primate cousins in the animal kingdom. What is this other animal that has all these traits? He asks rhetorically. The answer is Huscrofa, the ordinary pig. Dr. McCarthy
Right.
elaborates his astonishing
Our losses on
hypothesis
this.
in an article on macroevolution.net, a website.
All right, so that's that. Is this guy credible whatsoever?
Yeah, he is allegedly a leading authority in hybridization. So he's a geneticist that specializes in finding crossbreeding origins.
He's a PhD.
Yeah.
Pretty hot dude.
Pretty hot dude.
Fucking sexy guy or what?
Yeah.
DTF or what?
Yeah. Do you think we could fuck him?
Uh,
All of
yes.
us?
Yes.
Um,
I'm sure of it.
With his hybrid dick.
Yeah. That's what I call some hybridization.
all right, so Vermin Supreme is still around. If you don't remember, Vermin Supreme shows up to like primaries and where anyone can enter the running and whatever, and he'll get on C-SPAN and shit once in a while, and he's fucking hilarious. He'll put together these like 5, 6 minute, 7 minute, just filled with
Statements.
statements, but filled with the most hilarious, just hilarious wordplay, just over the top, sort of just campy, like wordplay speeches.
You may recall his speech about dental hygiene.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And oh yeah. He just is one of those guys that's out there attempting to point out the absurdity of the government,
Right.
And he's very much pro-human and anti-machine, I would say.
Hybrid strain would have
Oh,
become
that thing's still
fertile
on?
enough to
Get
breed
rid of
amongst
that.
themselves.
All right, so here's some Vermin Supreme. I guess he's entering the fray. 2016 presidential elections.
Stickers, free candy. Did
Fuck. Hold on.
grandfather
Gonna let that. There we go.
give you any candy today? If not,
This is bullshit.
Maybe
I have free candy here for you today. I'm Vermin Supreme.
Oh yeah, and we should point out he wears a boot on his head.
Yeah, like
and he's
upside down as a hat.
He's outside. He's outside like what is, I don't know where he's at. It looks like somewhere where there's a
Polling place, maybe.
maybe something like that. And he's got his boot that he's wearing upside down on his head, a giant rubber boot. And
He's
handing
wearing
out
a tiger striped cape.
and a tiger striped cape, and he's handing out free candy.
Candidate that's giving you free candy.
What a guy.
Free candy today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is this? Can I have your...
Yesterday, sir. Once again, of course, Vermin.
All right, whatever. This video's being a bullshit asshole, but that's the kind of shit he does.
Yeah. Did Rand Paul give you any candy today? He said. No, he didn't. That's why I'm here. Yeah, and everything he does is so funny.
Do you think him and Rand Paul are friends or what?
Yes. Yeah, I believe
Everyone
that.
gets a free pony when I'm president.
Wait, this one's called When I'm President, Everyone Gets a Free
An
Pony.
opening 2 minutes to Mr. Vermin Supreme.
Thank you. Gingivitis has been eroding the gum line of this great nation long enough and must be stopped. For too long, this country has been suffering a great moral and oral decay in spirit and in sizers. A country's future depends on its ability to bite back. We can no longer be a nation indentured. Our very self.
But when he's delivering this, his look is like a bad actor playing the president in a movie. You know what I mean? It's so fucking great the way he just
so
holds.
right on.
He just holds the official looking facial expression through this whole speech.
Elevation is at stake. Together, we must brace ourselves as we cross over to the bridge work into the 23rd century. Let us bite the bullet and together make America a sea of shining smiles from sea to shiny sea. Now, friends, some people will tell you that this mandatory toothbrushing law is about the secret dental police kicking down your door at 3 a.m. to make sure you've brushed. Friends, it is not. Some will mention the dental re-education centers or the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities. It's about none of these things. It's not about the government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance. No, friends, it is not even about DNA gene splicing to create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth fairies. Friends, what this mandatory toothbrushing law is really about is strong teeth for a strong America. My name is Vermin Supreme. I am a friendly fascist. I am a tyrant that you should trust, and you should let me run your life, because I do know what is best for you. Yes, I am a politician. I will promise you anything your little electorate heart desires, because you are my constituents. You are the informed voting public, and because I have no intention of keeping any promise that I make. Vote early, vote often. Remember, a vote for Vermin Supreme is a vote completely thrown away. I would like to take this moment to acknowledge my mother, who is in the audience here today. Please stand up, Mother. Please stand up. If you can stand up, please stand up. She's going to try and stand up so you can acknowledge her. This is my mother. There we go. And 5 years ago this April, I gave her a kidney. My challenge to you people, everybody on the stage and everybody in the audience, give up a kidney.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Supreme.
Do you see what he was doing there with the mandatory toothbrushing law?
Yeah.
What?
And saying that they're going to put people in detention centers.
No. But do you see what the metaphor is? No? I think he's going for a fluoride metaphor.
Yeah, well, I think it was maybe even wider than that, and just saying here's this law that has a great positive message, and it's got nothing to do with how we're going to enforce it. You know, I think it could be broader than just fluoride, although he does describe an addictive yet harmless substance. Is fluoride addictive? I don't think so.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yes. You're dumb.
All right.
But yeah, Vermin Supreme is fucking awesome.
That's funny.
And
Never
like
heard of that guy.
this is a clip like from TV, you know, like
yeah,
from like the C-SPAN bullshit or whatever.
Well, he's got my vote, and he has a fantastic jingle too, doesn't he? Have where he pulls out like a little tape player and has a little jingle he wrote for himself. You guys should all look him up. He's
yeah, there's a lot of really funny videos.
Yeah, he's
that's
got some
just
content.
our favorite one.
Yeah.
What else?
We've got
the Navy doctor.
The Navy doctor.
Yeah,
we want to talk about this creep.
What's going on?
I kind of don't want to talk about him. John Hagman, who was a doctor who taught battlefield medicine, has been accused of sexually assaulting his students and forcing them to inject each other with drugs. He also is accused of forcing his students to get drunk and perform rectal exams on each other, touch each other in the wieners, basically just to completely abuse his power as a medical professional who was supposed to be a teacher and instead took advantage of a bunch of young men trying to learn how to do battlefield medicine.
And so what the fuck? He's sorry. I'm trying to fix a couple things while you're reading that. He's doing what? He's actually like getting them to inject each other with drugs and shit.
Yeah, he was having them basically perform medical experiments on each other as part of their quote unquote
Holy
schooling.
fuck, dude.
Yeah. An Army Special Forces medic sergeant identified as Patient C detailed what happened to him while taking one of Hagman's courses in Colorado. Let's see. Dr. Hagman, who was the teacher, allegedly left the metal tip of a lidocaine infusion device in Patient C's chest, then had to remove it mechanically from his breastbone without sufficient anesthesia to forestall extraordinary pain. So he left the thing in this kid's chest, and then he had to remove it himself. Let's see. Hagman disparaged the suturing skills of Special Forces medics and walked away saying he was disgusted by a bad sewing job. So he was just, it sounds like he just went off the deep end and just like, well, that's it. I'm just going to fucking do all this fucked up shit I always wanted to do because I got nothing left.
Stick this in his butt.
How do these people get away with this shit for so long? We always find these stories of like, yeah, this teacher was like, having kids rape each other in the fucking on the table or what, we find these crazy fucking stories and it's been going on for 15 years. Like, the fuck? How long has this guy been around?
A long time. But he's an Army doctor. So I'll bet there's more risk in trying to report somebody of his caliber.
Yeah, well, because the first time somebody reported him, they did it anonymously, and that is kind of what made it take so long. They couldn't really get any proof, I guess, or
right,
something.
Yeah, you can't investigate that if it's just a tip. You have to wait for more people to corroborate it, at least. One person who's identified as Patient B said that Dr. Hagman forced him to perform penis and rectal exams on Dr. Hagman while he photographed it. So then he went as far as making people touch his wiener while he took pictures of it, and claiming that was also for part of science and
it's a real hands-on approach.
Oh, yeah, it was So he's being He also took many pictures of any students that had foreskin. He photographed and collected photographs of his students' foreskins.
No shit.
Yeah.
This guy is a fucking weirdo.
And has spent.
This guy's a little crazy, huh?
Hagman's company,
little crazy.
Deployment Medicine International, has taken.
Guy's got a screw loose, I think.
$10.5 million.
Guy's not quite all there, I'd say.
Spending on these classes, taxpayer money, $10.5 million that taxpayers spent on this dude taking pictures of his own wiener. Let's see, he's apparently been teaching for 25 years.
Holy fuck.
Mm-hmm. And claims that no one's ever complained in 25 years until right now. So that's...
I've never gotten any complaints.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like people left his class like, man, I feel like I really got a lot of experience.
I learned so much.
I really know what to do in battlefield medicine.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Battlefield medicine.
Man, look at that foreskin. And everyone else on the battlefield's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
All right, it's a shoulder wound. All right, drop his pants.
Let's see his wiener.
Here, inject him with this. It's LSD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's an enema.
Give him this LSD and let's fucking stretch out that foreskin, baby. Get to work.
Grab the camera.
Yeah.
Use more tongue.
Stretch out that foreskin.
All right, I'll bust the camera out. Akadeja.
So he's
wait, what foreskin is fucking gross, but sorry, anyways, what is that? Like I would hate to have that.
A collection of foreskin photos.
I would hate it if I had to have this extra ugh, I don't know,
really?
just yeah, I think it would be really inconvenient and weird. It would probably itch under there, it'd get all fucking sweaty and
just
stuff.
fucking clean it,
Why, is that how yours is?
No, mine's not that way, but I kind of a part of me feels weird that it's not. Like, I was born with that thing.
I know, we always get into that where it's it's hard to say that it's not immoral to cut a piece of a child's penis off without their consent, which they obviously can't give as an infant.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do feel like it'd be so weird to have an uncircumcised weenster, but I just
Yeah,
I just can't make that seem okay to do in my mind.
I feel like
if I had a kid, I probably wouldn't circumcise him. Not that I would have done it myself, but like I probably wouldn't circumcise him. I'd just fucking I just take him and like drag him around on the driveway and just try to fucking wear the skin off naturally.
Yeah, it's the natural way of doing it.
But no, really, it's a weird circumcision has become, because I always it's a thing you just think is normal because you have it, and it's like in recent years it was pointed out to me, well, like did they ask you first? I'm like, shut up.
No, you think I would have said yes?
It's one of those things. Like I bear no resentment, and like I'm not like over here mourning the loss of my foreskin or anything like that, but it's weird, and it's like I kind of wonder what it would be like to have grown up with a foreskin.
How your life might be different.
We're indoctrinated to think that like, oh, a penis doesn't have a hood, and like they did this thing to you before you started making memories and stuff, so it's just like that's what a cock's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And then it's like everyone who has the shit they were born with is the weirdo. And it's like,
well, and supposedly for a long time they were saying, well, it's more hygienic to remove it, and it keeps things cleaner, and it's just better for your health and this and that. But recently it's come out that that's actually not even true.
Yeah. I think there's another theory that some like bigwig in the church started doing it to keep kids from beating off or something like that. It was supposed to like stave off masturbation or something like that.
Really?
Based on science?
Based on probably just like, I don't know, pseudo religion science. I don't know. There's a thing on it somewhere.
If you could uncircumcise yourself, would you?
What does that look like?
Well, there's
snap my snap my fingers and it happens, or you mean like a surgeon?
Yeah, just say, who cares how?
Sure, yeah, of course. Right now, I would do it just to be like, I'm not going to back away from that experience.
But then, what if you hate? Well, I'm not talking about because you're
impressed.
Is that
okay with you?
I'm not talking about that because you're impressed that someone's able to magically replace your foreskin. So it's like, well, how can I
have to do that?
Yeah, I got to try that. No, I mean, really, what if you could have it? Now, here's the thing: if you don't like it, then what? You got to get recircumcised as an adult?
Fuck.
Ugh.
Weird.
No.
I think I'm gonna like it though.
You think?
Why?
You think you
doesn't
would take
it has extra like sensory
They say there's
stuff
more-
on there, so
yeah,
it
there's-
feels like super awesome.
There's more sensitivity, supposedly, which would make sense,
I don't know.
It keeps the penis head in there, so it's not getting like exposed all the time, getting desensitized. You know what I mean? So it's like never actually. For them, it's never like exposed unless it's sexy time, and then when it's sexy time, man, they got some nerve endings.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the tips of our dicks are constantly taking a beating.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, yeah,
It's weird.
it's just like a giant callus.
Yeah.
Compared to how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, that thing should be like pink and raw, like when a dog's dick pokes out.
Yeah, it should look like it just came out of a cast or something, like it's some.
It should look like Darth Vader's head. The weird
Yeah. Like that should be not. You should put that back on. That's how it should look. Your penis should look dangerously feeble.
Yeah.
That's the
Not
problem.
callous
That's
like
how a
we currently
man
are.
is.
Weird.
Looks. Yeah.
I don't know. Would you get your foreskin back if you could?
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to fuck around.
Why? Because you're just used to the way things are, or
Yeah, I got a lot going on. I don't want to really. I don't really want to
time
deal with
for
figuring that out. Yeah, I don't think I really got time for that shit. Getting your foreskin back. But there is a guy that does that shit. Here, look this up. Regrowing your foreskin. There's a guy who he did his own.
It's Kim Jong-un's magic pill to
Yeah.
regrow your foreskin.
And it regrows your foreskin.
Yeah.
But he started a company where they actually do this for people. I think, if I remember this right.
TLC Tugger foreskin restoration.
Fuck, I don't know. Whatever.
Apparently there's a lot of different
Is there a lot
ways.
of them now? Because
Yeah.
years ago I saw, and it was like one guy was like the revolutionary behind this, but
There's a 15-step WikiHow called "How to Regrow Foreskin."
yeah. So a lot
Do
of
they
people are
involve
interested in it.
clamps and rubber bands?
Probably, it's probably just a stretching.
Stretch out your dick skin. Look at that guy pondering.
He's making the decision.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you.
That's you and me right now.
Right.
Would I do that?
Should I?
Should I look he's looking down his underwear. I don't know.
Who does the artwork for this shit?
It works by pulling the skin off the penile shaft over the glands and applying tension, either manually or using a device, until new skin cells are produced and the tissue on the skin of the penis expands.
Boo.
So you just stretch until
so
new
it
skin
stretches it back
grows.
out. That can't be the same though.
No.
No, there's no way.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and plus you've already gone through all of the desensitization already. You're fucking.
Yeah, it's too late.
The weenster's already ruined.
The weenster.
All of our weensters are ruined.
They're already calloused.
Your pork sword.
Pork sword.
Skin wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would be the same thing. What do I know?
What was Matt Gear's thing? July 3rd in what? Pilsen?
Yeah.
Was it July 2nd or July 3rd?
July 3rd.
July 3rd in Pilsen. Matt Gear's got the art show. Matt Gear Art on Facebook. Check him out. I've got a lot of tour dates coming up that I'll let everybody know about soon. Oh my God! Look, what is this? A termite? Is this a termite?
What are you looking
What is
at?
this? That's a termite, I think. It looks like an ant.
Termites fly.
It looks like a flying ant. Yeah, that's what termites look like.
They fly?
This house is full of termites.
Yeah, all houses are full of termites.
Really?
Yeah.
They're all over the fucking place here.
Yeah.
I keep seeing them, and I don't know. This place is gonna fall over. I told my landlord about it. She was just like, "Yeah, you can move out whenever you want, but we're not doing shit about the termites." All right, we'll see you guys Sunday.
Do well.
Thursday.
Or Thursday.
Don't dwell.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't look at me with those puppy eyes, cause I've no sympathy for someone who thinks I'm the answer to their prayers. Life's tough, and I never pray. Fuck a helmet. I'm sick of fighting fate, and I've swam atop a sea of tears that would otherwise be useless if not for keeping me buoyant. So go ahead. Cry your eyes out, girl. Keep afloat. Build yourself a raft made out of wood that you knocked on and hair that you pulled out. Interlace those logs like fingers that you crossed while thinking that your mild ideas of good luck were gonna get you through this. I stopped being superstitious long before your black cats crossed my back. Probably around the same time that I grabbed a bat and shattered the windows inside view mirrors of a car belonging to someone whom I wish the best of luck to, yet took my kindness as a weakness. Having cursed him, I almost found it. When he was found, needle in his arm, foaming at the mouth, wishing himself the best of luck to make it through his day. But that's not superstition, that's karma. Your end is your road, and my paths are treacherous. So I don't want you coming with me, cause your fingers can't be crossed when you're gripping the side of a rock. And there's only one way down once you make it to the top. A leap of faith? Probably not gonna be in your best interest. So do well, don't dwell. And if you still dig me, then dig me a hole, plant me a seed, cut me to pieces, and use my flesh as fertilizer, so one day you can eat the fruits of your labor and know how bittersweet this life really is. Everything positive attracts the opposite.
away.